Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. Come on. I'm coming to Chicago the end of February. I'm headlining the Zanies in St. Charles, the downtown Zanies, and the Zanies out in Rosemont, February 21st through March 2nd. Those dates are all at grahamelwood.com. And of course, next month, the Progressive Comedy Tour is coming to the Gulf States, March 10th through the 13th. Ron Placone and I are going to Lafayette, Louisiana, Oxford, Mississippi, Pensacola, Florida, and New Orleans. grahamelwood.com for all the tour dates, and of course, support the show at the Patreon. I found this very interesting article. A Green New Deal must include food and farming. And it was written by Congressman Earl Blumenauer. He's out of the 3rd Congressional District in Oregon. And he's calling for solid, lasting bonds between the climate justice movement and the movement to reform the food system. So what this article goes into is these obviously two subjects, but it's something I've been talking about a lot, which is a Green New Deal, if implemented correctly, could help so many problems. Jobs, wage inequities, health care, I mean, all of this, which would then probably help, if everyone's getting decent jobs and health care and we're saving the planet, and then like how much crime are we going to have? I bet you would see, racism, sexism, all that stuff start to kind of, that stuff gets heightened when everyone is under stress because of money and everything else. And that's how we're seeing nationalists are on the rise all over the world. I was talking to a friend of mine in Japan. It was like, oh, the nationalists in Japan are on the rise. I mean, we're seeing it in Europe. We're seeing it obviously in this country. We're seeing it in Brazil. I mean, that's what happens. People can't pay their bills. They can't feed their families. So they blame that group. They're the ones over there. So all of us, the purebreds or the original or whatever, we're the better than that group. We go cause all these problems down in Central America now, specifically we're staging a CIA-backed coup in Venezuela. And what's happening? People are fleeing a war-torn country that we're helping, and they're coming to this country. And then we got to build a wall. If we start going into a civil war here, where are we going to go? We're going to try to go to Canada and Mexico, wherever else. And they're going to go, we don't want those greasy Americans coming in here with their guns and their war and their everything else. So a Green New Deal, as I've said, implemented correctly, can fix so many of the world's problems. Here's some details on this. And this is written by this congressman who has also introduced a new Food Bill Act into Congress. I'll go into that in a little bit. But the Green New Deal won't have the impact we need it to without a fundamental change to the way we produce food. As of 2016, American agriculture contributed over 9% of U.S. greenhouse gas pollution. Let me show you that one again. American agriculture contributed over 9% of U.S. greenhouse gas pollution, right? Largely due to emissions from livestock and poor soil management. If we are to reach the climate goals set by the IPCC, the food system must play a key role in reducing these greenhouse gas emissions and even sequestering carbon, actually taking carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere through regenerative agriculture practices. Now, we've talked about this a lot. So, one of the things we're doing, and we're going to get into it in a second, but we've talked about permaculture. We talked about responsible, sustainable agriculture. When we just pump into these same crops and put all this same crap in there, and we overwork the soil, and then pesticides and all this shit, which has water runoff, which contaminates the water. If we reverse all of that, we can actually help reverse things with the planet. Because, and I've talked about this in other videos, because if what's going to happen if it goes if we don't do this, right? So as the climate rises and we have more severe weather, then that's going to affect crops and food distribution, which means we're going to have food shortages, which means we're going to have riots, which means, we're going to have all kinds of things. This fixes all that. We pour billions of dollars into subsidies for just a few commodity crops, which are grown year after year on the same pieces of land in a way that snaps our soils of nutrients while polluting the air and water. We enshrine agricultural practices that use dangerous pesticides and threaten the health of farm workers. Mother Nature had it all figured out, guys, before we came along in the 40s and post-World War II America with petroleum-based pesticides. Mother Nature has a pretty good system in place. She'd been doing it for a long time prior to the 40s. I'm pretty sure people have been growing food for, I don't know, 1 million years or however long humans have been on the planet, 500,000, 100,000 years or whatever. I think Mother Nature kind of had it. She kind of has a decent system in place. I think. I don't know. We enshrine agricultural practices that use dangerous pesticides and threaten the life of farm workers. We look away as farm practices pump greenhouse gases into the atmosphere while giving very little support to regenerative agriculture and other techniques that sequester carbon. Right? There's plant life and all that actually absorbs the carbon. And as we've talked about, especially, we're going to need to do permaculture as weathers and temperature gets crazy, because we're seeing the polar vortex is caused by climate change. Now, Rachel Maddow doesn't talk about that. She says that Russia is causing it because Boeing and, the oil lobby buys ad time. So, we're going to have to do permaculture, if there's massive drought or polar vortexes or freezing weather or rain, flooding. We're going to have to grow it indoors. A Green New Deal can start by incorporating the principles of agricultural reform and applying them to practices that will decarbonize the economy, right? While bringing justice to the food system. This means linking the billions of dollars we spend on subsidies to conservation and farming practices that reduce agriculture's carbon footprint, and in the process, lowering the cost of healthy food for all Americans. So one of the ways is talked about, so we do these big corporate farms, and then all these gas-powered tractors and trucks, and then we ship it out, and it's just not buying more local, right? So, the diesel engine was created by Adolf Diesel to run on vegetable oil. He did this so farmers in Germany and Europe could be sustainable. They could grow their own fuel. There's a website I'm just learning about called Fries to Fuel, where it takes old grease, cleans it, and then you can put it in a car that runs on vegetable oil. Because growing all these crops and then shipping them all over the world and being subsidized is not, it's the amount of the carbon footprint to produce that, to harvest it, to ship it, to distribute it it's through the roof. This sends it the other direction. So this is the Food and Farm Act that the congressman that wrote this op-ed piece has introduced. So let's go into that farm bill. Introduced by Representative Blumenauer, the Food and Farm Act is comprehensive legislation that refocuses federal resources on those who need it most, fosters innovation. Oh, weird. Remember when America used to lead the world in innovation? Now it seems like we lead the world in imperialism and everything else. Wouldn't it be great to live in a country where we're leading the world in innovation, in green technology, and restorative agriculture? Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't you be fired up for that? I would. I'd be proud to say I was American. Encourages investments in people and the planet and ensures access to healthy foods. We need, I don't know. I think human beings need healthy food to live. I don't know. What do I know? I'm a dumb hippie. This legislation is the result of Blumenauer's Sign Your Own Farm Bill project, a multi-year effort engaging a wide variety of stakeholders to create a more visionary, equitable, and cost-effective farm bill. That sounds good to me. as I said, a Green New Deal that's done correctly, not some Pelosi, Chuck Schumer watered down version that gives money to this, that, and this corporation and doesn't hold them, the polluters, accountable, but a real one could save the planet and reverse everything. Now is the time to fundamentally shift farm infrastructure. A Green New Deal should reforest riparian areas, invest in conservation practices that rebuild degraded soil, and remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to reduce the 9% of greenhouse gas pollution that American agriculture to zero. By connecting communities to their food and investing in farmers. So Trump, most farmers in the middle of the country voted for him. And there was that video I did several months ago. They had to be given bailout money, basically, because the trade war with China is hurting local farmers. We should be investing in farmers. We should be investing in local farm. We should relish the local farmer, not the big corporate Monsanto farm. The family farm was the backbone of America. It was the backbone of civilization. By connecting communities to their food and investing in farmers, the suite of policies can ensure that locally grown, affordable, healthy food is accessible to everyone. That's something I encourage when I say vote with your dollars, right? Go to your local store, and a lot of stores are starting to do this now. They'll say local product or locally grown. Buy the locally grown thing. Support, go to a farmer's market. Support local farmers. Local organic farming if you can. If it works for your budget, I understand tight budgets, I understand that. But I'm just saying, when you can do that, you are really helping. A local organic farmer, you know what I mean? Local businesses, local farms, local produce. I'm going to try to go completely vegan. I'm like a fish every once in a blue moon, and I'll have eggs every once in a blue moon. I always joke I'm a progressive vegan because I eat eggs, you know, I'm pro-choice. But I think I have to just, because I'm hearing about factory farm fish and just all of this, like, man, plant-based life is the way to go for your body and for the environment. And you support it economically. See why organic food has really been on the rise? Because people are spending money for it, so there's money to be made. It shouldn't be so hard for farmers to get by growing the food that sustains our nation. With the right investments, a Green New Deal could provide living wage jobs for agricultural workers, prioritizing low-income communities, communities of color, indigenous groups, and frontline communities who are disproportionately affected by climate disruption. We can mitigate and address both climate change and the long-standing inequities and disparities that exist in the food system in the American economy. What this is talking about is something we've also talked about, which is, so in a lot of poor communities, they have food deserts. They don't even have access. They don't even have access to healthy, fresh fruits and vegetables. They have fast food, they have canned food. That's horrifying. If we started going to small local farms, urban farming, they're starting to do that in Detroit. Little local restaurants are growing their own food and then putting it on the table. Stuff like that. Do your own farming. Think about it. We go to a poor community and we start local farms, and people then are growing their own food, they're selling it, they have a job in agriculture, it's a local business. See? The solutions are, you know, there's a lot of easy, good, smart, they're already there, they're already in place. We just need the money and the backing to get them done. So spread the word on this, folks. And again, start in your own backyard. If I had a home with a backyard, I would start a garden immediately. It's what they did in World War II, called a victory garden. Right? Grow your own produce, support local farmers, support local businesses. You know? Help set up farms in poor communities, local gardens in poor communities. educate people on proper nutrition. We can all do it one by one in our communities and then back legislation like this. So I just heard about this bill. Call your congressperson and say you want them to support Blumenauer's bill. Thanks for watching the show, you guys. Thanks for being political vigilantes yourself. And of course, like, subscribe, share these videos. That really helps. Comments help. Watch the videos, the ads all the way through in the beginning. Don't click skip ad. When you click skip ad, I do not get paid. It's a great way to support the show. And of course, go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood. You can support the channel for as little as $2 a month. Thank you so much.